everyone. I'm Matt DiNapoli. I'm Manager of Developer Advocacy with the Cisco Developer Relations Program.
Hello, Snackers. This is Kareem Iskander. I'm the Lead Technical Advocate with Cisco Learning and Certifications.
And welcome to episode 81 of Snack Minute.
Snack Minute is your weekly 10-minute bite of learning covering tech, coding, and some cool projects that we work on.
And the cool project we're going to be talking about today is called KubeClarity, and our guest that's going to be introducing that to us is Oleksii Borisenko. Oleksii, if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself and telling us what you do.
Hi, Matt. Hi, Kareem. Hi, Snackers. My name is Oleksii. I'm the Net Developer Advocate and the Exchange Platform Lead.
Well, welcome today. So you're going to tell us about KubeClarity. Can you kind of give us a quick overview of what that is?
Yes, sure. So since the Kubernetes became a standard de facto as container orchestration tools, developers need some external tools for analyzing application pod inside the Kubernetes cluster. And KubeClarity is a tool for detection and management of software bill of materials and vulnerabilities. It scans both runtime Kubernetes clusters and CI/CD pipeline. And this can help us to enhance software supply chain security.
So I have a question for you, Oleksii. Why do we need container scanning?
Container scanning is one of tools that enable organization to release software more frequently by avoiding security issues and well-known vulnerabilities. Considering these processes, companies incorporating security and testing into the development as early as possible. And using KubeClarity, we can do this on testing stage while we deploy and test our application.
For those who have watched previous episodes, I think to clarify, no pun intended, Matt, is that the same? Is that an add-on to API Clarity, or are they different?
So that's actually a really good question, and I'll let Oleksii expound on that. But for our audience, KubeClarity and API Clarity are two separate open source projects that can kind of work in conjunction with each other. And they feed into a service that Cisco's providing called Panoptica. So they're open source projects that you can use functionally on their own. But if you want the whole suite of things, then you feed into Panoptica. That's what we're looking at today. So we're focusing specifically on the KubeClarity portion, which is going to provide us container scanning. And more interestingly, and this is something that I'm not as familiar with, is the bill of materials. The libraries and dependencies that are built into the container itself. It sounds like KubeClarity gives us visibility into kind of everything that's in that container. Am I correct on that understanding, Oleksii?
Yeah, sure. You're absolutely correct. So before we analyzing vulnerabilities, KubeClarity use software bill of materials tools to prepare a list of software that are in our pods, in our application, and then we one by one or in parallel analyze it using vulnerability scanners.
Okay, that's very interesting. So it gives us even visibility at the front end of potentially libraries that we don't even know are being added to our the operating system within the container itself, and the actual that are potentially affecting our application or application function that's running within that container. That's really exciting.
All right, Oleksii, I'm sure we've been talking about this. Can you put a visual into what we've been talking about, please?
Yes, sure, Kareem. Let me share my screen. Yeah, Matt, we see here KubeClarity dashboard. It's the first page. Here we can see a few windows like vulnerability elements, application resources and packages. We can filter it. We also see a window with new vulnerability trends. In this window, we can track new vulnerabilities. For example, on previous scan, we detect 100 vulnerabilities, and after deploying a new pod, we want to check how many criticals we have now. And in this window, we can see this and filter it.
So this is essentially, this is the dashboard for KubeClarity from a container perspective. What do I, like, how do I get this data from my container? Do I add that container into KubeClarity and it injects some type of agent within that container? Or is there a piece of code that you run as you start up your container?
Yeah, thanks for these questions. We can deploy KubeClarity inside the Kubernetes cluster as a pod. And then we just open KubeClarity dashboard, click on the button like start to scan. We can also schedule scan. After we scan all the whole cluster, or for example, a specific namespace, we can dig in item menu and see what we want to fix. In this sample, we can click on vulnerabilities. In this table, we can filter it by severity level. It goes from critical, high, etc. For each vulnerability, we can open description, see what scanners we use to detect it, what package version, what package name, and useful link with description of this vulnerability.
Oh, does it give me a remediation steps as well? Like, how do I fix this?
Yeah, in a lot of cases, we have fix version column. So you can see here in what version it was fixed. Yeah, in this case, we can update our image to this version and fix this vulnerability.
Very cool. Is there a way that people can get their hands on with KubeClarity relatively quickly?
Yeah, sure. We have learning lab on DevNet resources where each user can easily deploy Kubernetes cluster, integrate KubeClarity, and using tested Yelp app, like in my case, see how this works.
Yeah, well, Lexi, thank you for introducing us to KubeClarity. And snackers, go out and try that out in our DevNet Learning Labs, DevNet or developer.cisco.com/learning, and you can search for KubeClarity. And I'm sure we're going to put a link up right below that you can go check that out. Thank you guys for another great episode of Snack Minute.